say I'll come back, and I am back. This time, I'm back with... She's applying pressure a little bit because she's a broadcaster, so I also don't know what I'm going to ask her that, she already doesn't know. So, I'm back with a multifaceted? Yeah, multifaceted creative, but more specifically, a broadcaster by profession.
Come on.
And a content creator.
Come on.
A producer, because you do produce for your own show, right?
My darling.
Darling, we have MC the Dragon.
Hello.
Why are you called MC the Dragon?
Actually, hey, the name MC the Dragon came to me the day before I went for my Touch FM auditions, right? Okay. So before I got to Touch FM, I used to work at Energy, and I didn't have a radio name at the time. Yeah. So people would call me MC or Mary, and all the time the listeners got confused because 1 minute on Twist Show, I'm MC. The next minute with Shantae, I'm Mary. The next minute with Elsa B, I'm another name. So they were like, babes, you need to figure out a name. Yeah. And the name my parents gave me, it's a very Africanly white name. My name is Mary Cent. Mary like Jesus, Mom, and Cent for 50 Cent together. Yes, I swear.
The 50 Cent was
50 Cent.
a thought and process.
I don't know. That's how I explain it to people to make it better. But that name is very complicated for people to understand. So people called me Medicine, Mercedes Benz, everything but Mary Cent. So my whole life I was like, you know what? I need to get a cute nickname. I need to get a little nickname like the bad girls. You know what I'm saying?
Where did Dragon come from?
Dragon came from, I was listening to Lil Wayne and Drake's Hell Yeah. And in the line, my dear, the depth, the love for hip hop within. So in that line, Lil Wayne has a verse where he said, met a female dragon, had a fire conversation. And I said, oh girl,
that
sounds like me. Sounds like me. And I said, welcome to my radio show where we have fire conversation and listen to the latest tracks. Welcome to my table. That's how the catch line came.
That's like your
That's a little tagline, my dear.
That is so beautiful.
Thank you, my lovey. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back, all the way back though. How did you get into broadcasting? What was the interest? Why?
I think the love for broadcast for me started off, I was an only child, or I am still an only child. And growing up alone at home, my mom would leave me at home with DSTV and, the Disney channels and the Oprah Winfrey channel and all these beautiful things. So those were my friends at the time before I could go to school. So school holidays, that was what my life was. So I fell in love with the art of broadcasting because it brought people from all
watching
yes.
What are you watching?
I was watching Oprah Babes. I was watching the iCarly show. I think all of us wanted to be in front of the camera with your best friend.
I liked Nickelodeon more than Disney.
Don't tell Disney I said that, but Nickelodeon was where it was at. Nickelodeon was definitely where it was at. So growing up watching a lot of television, listening to a lot of radio, I always wanted to be a part of that space. But growing up in a black home, it was never really a career path that was encouraged for me to take up. So I had to find my own way in that space. And fortunately enough, I love to talk. I can yap for a living. So debate became something that I fell in love with.
You were doing debating?
I was, my dear. Come on, national speakers, here we go.
I
love it. What was your favorite position to be?
I used to do the objection thing.
Come on, little Miss Objectors. I love it. But being in the space of debate, we got into a competition called the Zula competition that was on Radio Energy. So every time we would debate on there and we won, we always won.
You were representing your school?
Yes, I was representing. I went to Yanmore Secondary School. Shout out Altate May Best. Come on, Camille Drongamboma. The Africans finished, my dear. But
so you guys used to debate different topics, obviously.
Yes, different topics from government to education to finance to health and all these other things and facets that allowed for my critical thinking to really mature and cultivate. Every time we finished the debate competition, people were like, oh my gosh, you have such a great voice. You should really look into radio and broadcasting. So a few times people said that to me. I was like, you know what, let me look into it. So I asked Josie Joss, who was the manager of Energy at the time. Shout out Josie Joss.
That is an OG.
That man believed in me when I was just a girl in school uniform. He said, come here.
And he sees talent.
Very much so.
I really think he sees talent. Like,
very much
he can create a radio station any day.
Exactly.
Honestly.
I'm still waiting for you to bring me back on. But in that space, every time we finished the debate competitions, I'd always ask him, can I please come work on radio? Can I please come work on radio? It was like, babes, you're grade 11. You're underage. Legally, I can't employ you. So maybe when you're done with school, we can think about it. This was grade 11. So I made it a goal to finish school and get on radio. When I finished my grade 12 exam, I remember myself and my best friend, Rochelle, we walked to Energy from Yanmore. And we went there and I told him, I'm ready. I'm here to come do the job that needs to be done.
Literally Took yourself to the station.
I went to the station in my school uniform. I said, I'm ready. He gave me a script to read because you have to do a voice test before you can go on radio. And he said, okay, here and there you still need a little bit of improving, but there is potential in that voice. So we can give you a internship/holiday job for the December period, and we can see how that goes from there. So fortunately enough,
jealous.
my dear, when you pray to a living God, when God has a plan for you and he puts you in places and spaces where all of your dreams can align, it really is just about you showing up and putting your best foot forward. So that's how I got into
So you
radio.
knew what you wanted from grade 12.
I did.
From the time you finished writing
From
exams,
the time,
you knew.
because I knew I want to go to the mall with my chomas. I want to go hang out at the park. But to do that, I need Zaga. And as the only child of a black mother, what are you going to say you need money for, honey? Because all you need is in this home. What is outside?
So in all of this, you are on radio in high school. What are your parents thinking?
This was end of high school. So this was now like what I was getting into my first year of university. That's when I got into radio.
Yeah, what are your parents thinking? Because you know, African parents is like, you need to be a doctor, nurse, lawyer.
Exactly. At the time we were in university now, we started going to school. So now the school and the juggling of it all, the internship also ended because it was a 6 months internship. So it was from December. I'm very bad with mathematics. Don't check me. Don't beat me.
Me too.
So from December, round about June, July, that's when the internship had ended and we were like getting into exams. So my mom told me, you're not going to be able to do the same. You're not going to be able to handle the two things for yourself. So I think let's take a step back from this work thing and you focus on school because as a
she
child,
literally set you down.
Yeah, she said, girl, you got to finish what you started. So I said, okay, cool. Let me finish.
What are you studying?
At the time, I was doing public management at UNAM.
Random. Why?
Very random. My best friend and I had a pact that we were going to become ambassadors and travel the world together. You see the love of debate and changing the world and bringing social change.
I always wished I had friendships like you guys coming from high school. We're like, we're gonna be lawyers, we're gonna be what? I didn't make friends like that in high school where we're gonna be tech.
No,
so you guys were saying you're gonna work.
We were literally thinking about the future because we know where we come from and we know that we want better for our families and stuff. And with the objectives that we had at the time with wanting to become global world leaders and movers and shakers of things and industries, we saw that that was the position that we wanted to go into. But when we got to the books, you know, at school you are smart, in high school you are very smart, but when you get into a lecture hall with 150 other people,
university will expose you.
It will humble you, my dear. I went very fast from top 1 to 0 there. Never one, just in the bottom of the barrel there. So we had to change things up.
Then fast forward, how did you get touch then?
Fast forward, how I got touch was, again, the being broke. The having to ask mom for pocket money all the time. The having to ask dad to give you money for this and that. I don't like that. I like to be someone that makes things for myself. I'd like to have money myself when I want it. If I want to go buy new soggies.
You're an independent girl.
Do you understand what I mean? So again, I wanted to figure out what can I do? I can't start a business because I'm way too young. So what do I do now? Before we had the Touch FM auditions, we actually had auditions for Base FM. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Base. Yes, I had an audition at Base FM the week before. So the Saturday of the Touch FM auditions,
unloyal employees.
I had to shoot my shot. They say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I said, ga. Wherever.
Those are interviews where we call you for an interview and you are applying for.
My dear, you must always have an egg in someone's basket. You don't know where it will hatch and you'll start a farm. You just have to be prepared.
Wait, so you were at that time you had left Energy.
Yes, I had left Energy after 6 months. I left Energy after 6 months.
And you never went back?
I didn't go back. I always wanted to go back. I'd always say, if you guys ever need some help, even on the weekends, holla at your girl. They're like, oh, we're cool, Shapu. We'll holla at you. But other people came around. More people got an opportunity to also do that. So I went to the Base FM auditions. I was waiting to get a call back from Base FM. I didn't get a call back. So I was like, maybe I didn't get the gig. So then my mom was like, oh, did you hear about these auditions? Because I already told her about them. She said, are you going to go?
Like that.
She is, my dear. That's my bestie. Like, we are only the two of us. So if we don't write for each other, who's going to write for us?
So even you leaving Energy, it was a proper conversation of like, I'm not saying don't go into radio. I'm just saying step back.
Step back, focus on school, because ultimately every mom wants to see their child in a cap and gown. Every mom wants to have that photo shoot with your the award and all of this.
So it was a proper mutual conversation.
It was a proper. It was. I was a little bit bummed about it because it was her decision that impacted me, but for my own betterment at the time, I didn't see it. For me, it was just like, oh, this auntie's just taking my bag. Like this little coin I was getting there was really helping my life. So at the time I didn't see it, but now as a grown up, I do see what she was saying, and I love it because a lot of people that do end up working early don't really want to go back to school. You really don't want to fulfill going back to study halls because now I'm getting paid. So why must I go back to school to get paid again? But we don't realize that if you get the accreditation, you get paid more now. They have balance to balance it.
Present
Parents, present moms.
There's this thing of where they say present dads on TikTok. So I'm like, present moms.
Present moms. And a big shout out to single moms, guys. We would not be where we are without the sacrifices and the dedication that these women make for us as their daughters and their sons every single day. If you have a single mom, give that lady a hug. Give that lady a kiss. Give her as many flowers as you can while you can still hold and hug her, because it's a cherished gift that not a lot of us are able to experience.
Honestly. Okay, so touch auditions.
Yeah, bo.
You attended.
We attended.
Was it a lot? Was it a lot of people? What?
The touch auditions, there were 1,500 people in the line. So I don't know if you know how NBC is set up, right?
Yeah.
So from
NBC Radio.
Yeah. So from inside the building,
Yeah.
all the way out, up that hill, all the way to Commerce High School. That is where the line was. That is how wrapped the line was. So there were 1,500 people that were in that line. By the time I got to
Touch FM, NBC
this is Touch
Radio,
FM,
by the way.
NBC, the 11th radio station, the youth commercial radio station. 91.7 FM is everywhere, baby. Make sure you tune in. That is where the line was. When I got to NBC, it was 11 o'clock, and I was at the end of the line, and I was like, yo, this is giving a mission. At that time, the girlie didn't come with the water, she didn't come with a snack, she didn't even come with a ice or something to keep her parched throughout the whole thing. Fortunately enough, I was able to see one of my friends. My friend was like, okay, no, we have other people waiting for us on the other side. Let's quickly enter the thing. You know, as Namibians, we have to do what we do.
No, black people.
Please don't.
Black people.
We helped one another and we got into the lines. By the time we got to audition, or I got to audition, it was roughly around 5:45. That's the time I went into the room to do my audition.
In the night?
Yes, in the evening. So from 11 to 5:45, that's the time I got into to do my audition. So from the 1,500 people that were there, they selected 21 that would come back for a follow-up. I was a part of the 21.
How was the callback?
Oh, the callback. I thought it was a joke,
excited?
Sana. I thought it was a joke. I was very excited, but for a second I was like, man, don't do this to me. And she said, you didn't get the job. I didn't say you got the job. You just are coming back for an interview, and then from there we'll decide. From the 21, they selected 9, and God's favorite girl was a part of that 9. And here I am sitting across you.
Now you have, what is called? The breakfast mayhem.
No. I have the morning mayhem.
Morning mayhem.
The morning mayhem. Where did Dung Blay an media?
Hey, what's the tagline for that?
That one is just the Dung Blay an, like the chaos continues. You know, the mayhem continues. Yeah. So the Dung Blay an. That's why we captioned it a little bit now. Yeah.
How is radio now? You
I love,
because last time you were head radio was when you were finishing high school. How is it now as an adult? And
as an adult, I will say that I have fallen more and more in love with radio, because when I started in radio, I was working alongside someone. I had a co-host at the time, and moving from there to where I have my own show now, and I have my own autonomy to some degree, of course, about what I can talk about on air, what I can do.
You also
on
produce
air.
yourself,
Yes,
right?
I also produce myself, but of course, it has to be
I don't think,
approved and
I want to have that conversation on. What do you think about radio presenters producing their own shows? Because usually a presenter is supposed to have a producer. How do you think about that?
I think that in spaces where you are able to afford a producer, or the institution is able to provide a producer, it's very amazing, because it reduces the load work on the presenter. But in a space where you are the person that does produce your own content, it gives you a lot of time to really think about the content that you're putting out there. Because at some point, you're going to run out of angles and ideas on how to capture a specific segment. But you, as the person that understands what your listeners like about the program, you can understand that, okay, if we're talking lifestyle and beauty, apart from just looking at events, we can look into Namibian makeup. We can look into Namibian hair brands. We can look into Namibian fashion clothing lines. So there's always an aspect and an angle that you can tackle something from that someone else can't see it, because you do the Shandi every day. You talk about it every single day. So you understand also when something is a little too played out, and how you can jujuvise it and make it more refreshing and lacquer.
Okay. So right now you don't have a producer, you're doing it
No,
by
I don't have a
yourself.
producer right now. I'm doing it myself.
How is tackling now doing the actual presenting and doing the production?
I think the production element of it, we have a system where you pre-produce your show. So
Oh,
you
that's
send
cool.
a production plan the
that's
week
cool.
before. So now this Friday, I'm going to send in
So
my
you don't
production.
do days before?
We do
Because
days
I used to work
before.
at a radio station and you have to, the day before is when the people are bringing in their...
My dear, that's how sometimes
Like-
we do it, but we're not supposed to do
Okay.
it. So we usually give our scripts in the Friday.
Yeah.
So this Friday I'm giving in for next week from
Yeah.
Monday all the way to Friday.
Yeah.
So that our station manager can go through it and make sure that the content aligns and so forth. So if I have any interviews, like if I want to get you
Yeah.
for Woman Crush Wednesday, then I'll put there 11:15. I have this gorgeous lady coming in for an interview. Tomorrow I have this and that, so that they're able to pre-produce that as well. So it takes away the burden of you as the presenter having to do that the day before your show. If there's anything that you want to change and amend, of course you can do that
Yeah,
the
gives you
day
time.
before.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
nice. And then TV, because you're on TV now. You're on TV now.
On TV.
You used to not show face.
Show
now
me.
you're showing face.
Imagine.
Whatagwan?
Hi, Whatagwan. We love music.
Were you the, because I know you love music, that means you also used to watch Afro Connection when Pobini
Yes,
used to
of course.
present.
Of course, my
Do
love.
you know the history of Whatagwan like that?
Honey, I have watched Whatagwan for as long as I can remember. For as
Yeah.
long as I can remember. In between there, when we missed the DSTV payments, you know, Mos, you have to go home.
Yeah.
NBC was the home. That was
You-
the channel
you
that we
watch, yeah.
always watched. And growing up watching it, I was always fascinated because I was like, wow. How can you remember all those questions? How can you remember all those details? Like, wow, you and Gaza really must be besties. Like, what?
We used to be jealous for
So,
Shilongo.
you're the
goat
etiquette,
herself.
the goat of the goats, my dear.
She's the leader. She led everybody. She led the nation.
She led us into some great positions. Thank you, Mama.
She's Noah the Ark, built it, and then said, come in, all of you guys.
Let's go forward
Okay,
and beyond.
so you used to watch Afro Connection.
Yeah, bo.
What's the difference, do you think? And do you think they've evolved?
I think definitely
In terms
they
of
have.
broadcasting.
They definitely have evolved. Not just
Yeah.
because I am honored to say it,
Yeah.
but you can see the proof is in the pudding. They're going to different spaces. They're going into different venues and
NBC is
stuff.
like digital. NBC
Exactly.
digital now.
Exactly, my darling. So this means that if you don't have the TV at your fingerprints, you can now watch Whatagwan live on your phone from anywhere in the world. Whether you be in Dubai, Karasburg, Marienta, wherever you are, you can watch it live on your phone. If you have an event happening, we can come through. We can bring the cameras, you bring the vibe, and we set it up. At the Crayfish Festival, Whatagwan was there. Any other...
You were in Ludrets?
I wish,
Guys-
Chomi, yo,
Oh, you
I
didn't go?
wish. No, we had Franklin representing us over on that side. Yeah, bo. So
No,
it
Franklin,
definitely
the
has
radio
a...
presenter of
Yes,
Frank-
Franklin.
oh,
Yes,
Franklin.
frankly speaking.
Yeah, frankly speaking.
Yes, the man himself.
I always wanted to go to Ludrets. I think Crayfish Festival is amazing.
We make it a promise to go next year?
Bruh, please.
Guys, if you see me and my girl in Ludrets, don't ask questions.
Please,
Just understand
guys.
we're there for the fish. We're there for the fish and the
And
leaves.
now you are in close proximity with stars that come to Whatagwan and you're meeting the musicians. Just think about Namibian music space right now.
My dear, the Namibian music space is... What is the word I'm looking for? Right now, it is hot. It
You
is
think
hot.
so?
It is. It is
Guys.
absolutely hot, my babe. No, for real, for real.
Like we have
for real.
people, but like as an industry,
Baby,
that's boring.
we no. As someone who actively works with different artists from
Yeah.
different places and
Yeah.
spaces, there is so much Namibian talent that
Okay.
you guys are not tapped into. People in Rundu, people in Katima.
Rundu is crazy.
Baby,
Rundu and Katima.
when you talk about the likes of P-Star, when you talk about the
MIG.
likes of TK, MIG, when you talk about DJ Vuyo, DJ Sia, outside of
Rundu.
that, you have the Carlys. There's
Rundu and
so much
Katima.
talent, guys. There's so much talent. Our
Okay.
music industry right now is at an all-time high.
Okay.
I really like where we're going and where we're moving. I would just like to see a lot more teamwork, a lot more
In
togetherness.
terms of what teamwork?
In terms of just like giving your brothers and your sisters flowers when they've done something good. When you see someone is doing something good that you haven't seen before, give them a shout out. Even if it's just someone that is up and coming, a co-sign can really do the best.
It goes a long way.
Doechii got a co-sign from Kendrick Lamar before everyone knew who Doechii was. When she got that co-sign, that's when everyone was like, oh my gosh,
this is you.
You understand what I mean? Damon met, he's going viral on TikTok right now from Namibia. People didn't know who this gent was until he started dancing in his grey sweatpants. That's when he got onto people's radars. But these people have been making music for a while now. These people have been pushing content and art, but we're just not tapped into it. So we as Namibians need to make it our own mandate and duty to find out what's bubbling under, what's cooking on the ground. If you don't know what we must play on the aux cable when we pass you for a local song, that's nobody else's fault but you. Because social media is now at your fingertips. You don't have an excuse to say, oh, I don't know where your music is. YouTube is there, Spotify is there, iTunes is there, and a lot of our artists are on all those platforms.
Top 5 Namibian artists of all time.
Of all
Quickly.
time.
No, we don't have time. Quickly.
Number 1, it has to be Girl Level, my dear. Those women raised me.
That's two.
But it's a group, is it not?
Okay,
Is
we're gonna consider them as a group.
It's a group.
Okay.
It's a group. I think number 2, this is no particular order.
Yeah.
I have to put my good sis Tekla there because that vocal, baby.
Tekla is crazy.
Oh, honey, at my wedding, please, I beg.
Tekla-
If ever
Tekla
I
is
find
crazy.
a groom,
Her voice.
Honey,
Her voice.
honey. I would have to say DJ Vuyo. I've loved to see his growth from where he started to where he is now and the
DJ
journey in
Vuyo's
between.
career is very interesting because he started off producing for the Booty and them. And then
All of a sudden,
we are
he's in our-
Doradoing.
my dear, that is number 3. Number 4, I'd have to say, man, if it's not Gaza Mary Paloma, then who is it? Gaza has to be on that one.
Who's your number 1 then?
I said no particular order. I said no particular order.
Okay.
Number last. This one's very difficult because all the names are coming now. All the names are here. Lastly, I would have to say Ghetto Ballerina.
Really?
I'd have to say GB. That GB bass is strong, baby. As a rapper, her flow is ridiculous.
Not somebody new because she started like. So you don't have anybody new on your list?
You said most all-timers.
Yeah.
All-timer.
Wow.
I gave everything, I gave timeline and explanation.
You did,
but
you
GB,
did.
my dear, that lady, her flow,
tap
her
into
beat,
her more.
it's absolutely amazing. There's a song that she dropped, I think it was a year and a half ago with Jericho, as well as with Cassidy Caron. It's called, with also Jay Black, it's called The Race. And that song
sounds like an Amapiano song.
No, it's not actually. It's a hip hop song. Yeah. They wanted to do a little spin on that, but in a hip hop style, and I absolutely like it, man. I liked it very much.
What's your thoughts on the media space right now, in terms of not just broadcasting but also content creation, but also public relations, communications, all in all? Encapsulated in one?
I think right now, because it's something that we are tapping into as a country, there's not a lot of like frameworks that are in place or like blueprints for people to follow, you know?
That's what I'm also saying, because they said they're giving the creative space 15 million the other day. Then I'm like, we can have the 50 million, but we don't have framework.
Exactly.
We can work
How is it going to work? Who's going to be the one allocating these funds? How are we going to work together with allocating those funds? Is it how everything works? Because people have an idea that sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
People usually have a notion of saying that the industry is very like birds of a feather flock together. Like if you and me know each other and we know the three of us, ons is net saam so die geld sal net so bly. But
so like click.
Exactly. It's very clicky. And we need to do away with that clicky behavior because the money needs to flow. The creativity needs to flow.
I think. Like,
the opportunities
need to
be given.
More.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. And then also now, podcasting is coming into play. You're on a podcast. You are on radio. Are you scared you're going to take your job?
Never, girl. You could never do that.
Are you scared AI is going to take your job?
Never, baby. Never. No matter how much you prompt and give AI many characteristics for it to sound human, there's that human connection that you can't replicate. You understand what I mean? There's that passion about broadcasting that a robot can't emulate. it has to come from here within. When we used to see people like Pombili on television, you'd be like, oh my gosh, the way that she does it, nobody can do that.
Yeah.
When you hear of your favorite radio presenters, there's just that etiquette and that cadence that they have that it really can't
Cadence.
be. The cadence of it all. It can't be replicated.
Really
Don't tell the show I'm a little ghostwriter. I'm a little ghostwriter.
Thank you so much for coming through, man.
Thank you so much for
I appreciate
having
this
me, my
conversation. If there's anybody that's watching and wants to enter the broadcasting space, what can you tell them? Just like 3 things.
Just
that
little
you can-
3 things,
yeah,
no?
that you can tell them.
Do your research, not just about the job that you're doing, what the job requires, as well as how to price yourself, how to market yourself. Do that research. You owe it to yourself. If ever you interview someone that you don't know anything about, the research that you've done is going to be able to help fill in those blanks so that you can buy yourself enough time to act like you actually know what you're doing. Number 2 would be remain original. No matter how many people rah-rah and speak well and speak expensive and all of these nice things, they will never be able to be what you are, which is you, babe. You are in those places and in those spaces because you deserve it, and no one is going to take that from you. So remain humble, remain yourself, and remain true to who you are and what you stand for. And lastly would be have fun, babes. Have fun. There are going to be times where you want to throw in the towel and say, this thing not be for me. This thing of talking,
media,
this
you're
thing
going
of
to be broke for a very long time.
You're going to be very broke for a long time. But in those moments and in those pit stops, good things are going to come, and you owe it to yourself to enjoy those things, those last minute trips, those last minute events, saying yes to something you thought wasn't going to amount to something. That is always going to be something you'll look back and say, you know what? If I didn't take a Yango to go over to La France, I wouldn't be sitting on a yellow couch with this sexy girl.
Where can people find you? Social media?
Social media, you can catch me Instagram, Facebook, what's TikTok?
Yeah,
I am
TikTok.
at MC the Dragon, aka
All
Big
right.
Cash.
Catch you on radio also.
Catch me on radio and on TV. Catch me on air from 12 to 3 p.m. on 91.7 FM, Touch FM. You can also catch me on Whatagwan every Wednesday and Friday on NBC2.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be right back. That was MC. Great.
Thank you for having me.